Hello everyone, Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. Want to apologize for not making a video last weekend. I was extremely sick, very sick, and I still have residual effects of being sick, so I apologize if I sound a little funny or if I'm a little off. This one hit me hard. Anyway, speaking of not getting hit hard, the QQQ. We can't even get a pullback below the 50 SMA. We're bouncing already. Strong volume today off the dovish testimony from Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Rate cuts, another cycle of rate cuts are coming. QQQ looks good. SPY, excellent day. I believe that is intraday. We hit a new all-time high. But more importantly, look at the IWM. Look at that beautiful breakout. And now look at the relative strength line. Now we almost completely rolled it over before righting the ship. Now the relative strength on the IWM is very strong. DIA also, beautiful breakout today. To me, we're in complete alignment. We got Fed rate cuts coming. We have the IWM breaking out. There is only one macro data point that I wish we had in our favor. That's the Fed balance sheet. And while I do wish we had that in our favor, when you look at M2 and you look at this market, that's just it's a non-event. However, it would be great if it was all in our favor. We just don't have everything, but we have enough. And the IWM now leading, hey, that's great. Those are our most economically sensitive stocks. I didn't see what TAN did today, but as I'm looking at it right now, it was beautiful. Nail, home builders, excellent move today, and biotech stocks, they continue to lead. So we're clearly having a rotation into those three sectors I just mentioned. And that rotation, along with that pullback lately, along with seasonality, it's late August, and we're heading into the seasonally weakest month of the year, September, has kind of thrown my swing trading game plan off course. However, it wouldn't have been thrown off course if I simply adhered to my tried and true weekly squeeze scan. So really quick, we're just going to run through these stocks. These stocks are still active on my weekly squeeze scan. However, currently only 3 names are actually in my weekly squeeze scan as active squeezes. GDXU, a leverage ETF of the gold sector. TDS, which I'm just absolutely not interested in. However, since being in that scan, it right away worked and it's still working. And then actively is XPEV, and this was the disappointing one because we nailed this one this week. It was the only long signal. I had one other stock on the books. I've since added another one. And currently, after today's session, we're going to review a new swing trade. I'll have 4 stocks on the books. I'm all in using all of my buying power. But if there's one stock on the book, that one stock would get all of my buying power. If you got 4 on the books, I have to split it up in between the 4. But XPEF we'll review really quick. But first, I just want you to look at the white triangles. Now, of course, I removed the stocks that fail to stay in the scan, like Z-Lab lately. I removed Z-Lab. It entered the scan here, removed it here, still holding up. So you won't see the stocks I removed in there. However, the white triangle is your guide. Since hitting the scan, you can see what these stocks are doing. And one thing you'll notice is when these white triangles are near the 50 SMA, they really go on to produce big gains. Now, Roblox, this is one that's on the books currently for me. I have a buy stop just above this high, and my national sell stop will just be right below that low. But when it was forming this base, when we were in a new uptrend, this was a cup with handle. I made a huge mistake and actually didn't set a buy stop while it was making a handle because I didn't think the handle was long enough. I have regretted it ever since, but that's okay. This is what we're looking for when markets come fresh out of corrections. Now, once you get going, it's going to be hard to get those kind of setups. You can see GFI breaking out above this base, but right here when it entered this scan, it was right off the 50 SMA. I waited to get this pocket pivot point signal, and sadly, by the time on this day was when I decided to enter 8-1, had a buy stop above the high of the day, had my 1% limit offset. I missed the trade by 10 cents, and it's done nothing but go up. And I bring that up because XPEV just had a similar situation happen. But you can see where the white triangle is on these charts, and you can see how most of these charts have been performing since. This is my highest quality scan where I can take size and conviction on the trades. Now, XPEV, when it made this scan on this day, very interested, obviously, waiting for a hammer candle, but we have earnings coming up. And after this session here, we had the earnings, sales growth over 100%, earnings growth over 60%. Anything time I have sales growth over 100%, you get a check mark by your name. It's the only stock in this weekly squeeze scan. I did a buy stop on this day above 2108 at 2109. However, I've learned with these Chinese names, with all the gaps in them, with these commodity related names like GFI with the gaps, first off, if I just would have bought GFI properly right after it showed up on the scan, I wouldn't even have this situation where I don't have a position now, and I don't because I missed it by 10 cents. And the same similar situation with XPEV. Had I moving forward, Chinese, foreign, commodity related, or gappy names, I just got to buy at the market the very next day. Had I done that, I'd be long XPEV at 2049. Instead of having that buy stop at 2109, limit offset 2130, low a day of the day, gapped up 2141. Another missed trade by just 11 cents. But since that long position in 3 days, XPEV is up 14% versus the SPYs less than 1% versus the IWM's 4% versus the QQQ 47%. So all of the account capital would have been an XPEV. Actually, we had Tesla on the books using TSLL, but we're just going to review the trade. So Tesla's on the books right now for me. RGTI is on the books for me. And Roblox is on the books for me, and we'll be adding a new position tonight. But with Tesla, I had the buy stop above this high. After today's session, it's going above today's high of the day. Now, was I hoping to get a solid hammer candle off the lows to get long? Sure. I also went long this past 2 weeks, Rocket Lab. And unfortunately, on Friday, I made mention the week in the chat room, it looks like there's too many eyes on it. We'll probably fail. And it did. Now, why didn't I call it back on with that hammer candle right off the 50? I don't know, and now I'm regretting it. Same thing happened with app. I went in for a cheater long off the 9 EMA. It failed. Then we got a better with signal with a hammer candle. I'm just having a tough time short term with this market on the swing side. So app looks fine again. Everything looks good with it. Wish I didn't get shaken on my position. It happened. Rocket Lab, same thing. But for right now, I got Roblox on the books above the recent highs. I got Tesla on the books above today's high of the day. And RGTI was on the books with a move above this recent high, 1815. But after today's session with that hammer candle off the 50, we're moving the buy stop to above today's high day. Now, I won't be using RGTI. I'm going leverage and I'll be using RGTX. I won't be using RKLB. I'm going leverage and using RKLU. And I'm not using Tesla. I'm using TSLL. And that happens to bring us to our new long position, SOUN. So SOUN has current sales growth over 200%. It's a hot stock, hot sector, nice chart pattern. You can see after the earnings gap higher in rally, we've pulled back. We pulled back actually on below average volume, and volume got really low yesterday. Now we have the hammer right above the 50 SMA. So I'm going to add SOUN to that list. So SOUN, RGTI, Tesla, and Roblox are all on the books for me. All of my buying power that I have remaining on the books will be split up evenly between these four names. But my buy stop on SOUN will be above today's high of the day. So I'll be using SOUX. So above, by looking at SOUN, above 1278, I am long. My cut loss level is the 50 SMA. There, I just had to clear my throat, everyone, proving that I'm still sick. But today, excellent day. I mean, there's good looking charts everywhere. Uber in our long-term portfolio. By the way, we reconstituted the quarterly portfolio this past week. We ended the last quarter rounding up the SPY's return to 9%, rounding down our quarterly portfolio's return to 12%, we beat the SPY. 12% to 9% in the past quarter. And it was a very difficult quarter. But we have those new names and we're good to go. And to make mention, I'm still 100% long in the names in the long-term portfolio. Why do I operate different portfolios, you might ask me? Well, at this age, I've accumulated quite a bit of wealth, and I think it's silly to have all my capital in one methodology whenever things like XPEV can happen. Now imagine if I had all my money in the swing trade and then I'm this portfolio and I miss XPEV. It kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But in the long-term portfolio, I got names like Uber, I got names like AVGO, we got names like Nvidia. They'll make up for it. PLTR. So eventually everything will turn out okay, I'm sure, in the long-term portfolio. But that's why we run multiple portfolios, especially at this age. But there's a lot of good-looking charts out there, man. You look at ETHU, you look at SE, I mean, you look at Google, you look at WGS. I mean, we just got a lot of great names. Now, the problem right now for me is I'm not getting long enough consolidations to get long these names. KC, that's what I'm kind of looking for. Now I need a volatility contraction pattern to potentially do a buy stop on this one. But there's a lot of good looking names with a lot of good looking charts out there. And I tell you what, whenever you have this many good looking stocks in this many different industry groups, it's impossible to be bearish. And then there's coin off the low here. TEM was one that I was trying to get a setup for, but it looks like we just get handles for 1, 2, 3 days. So I'm still trying to operate with that. It's a little bit tricky for me right now. Once again, it's August, September. I'm not going to beat myself over not taking new positions. That being said, I told members I wouldn't beat myself over PGEN if PGEN works on this day, but I'm not taking it. And once again, another regretful decision as it just continues to work. So I'm in a little bit of a drawdown on my swing account, guys. I'm having a little bit of a tough time with it. But I got to admit, I've been sick the past week plus. Not going to beat myself up. It's late August, it's early September, but the market looks good. Rate cuts are coming. I don't think it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I just never really kind of get what I want in the market. I would have loved to have seen this market pull back throughout August and September, and it still may in the QQQ. And then right around the third week of October, get some amazing setups in my squeeze scans. Don't know if I'm going to get it. Doesn't look like I'm going to get it. And if that's the case, hopefully we get filled on Tesla, RGTI, Roblox, and SOUN.